good afternoon, and welcome back to the Real Man, Real Leaders podcast. It is June 8th. We're here in Garden City, Kansas, and things are starting to warm up a bit. But we're getting ready to get into summer, so that's to be expected. And we want to thank the good Lord for the recent rain, too, because we've been needed it. Hey, we got a returning guest, I would say, Anthony Calderon, who works for the Highway Patrol Department, but also he is going to start a new role at the Garden City Community College as the assistant girls wrestling coach. Anthony, welcome. Welcome back. Glad to have you. Kind of excited for you as well. And then, for Garden City, period, and the girls wrestling program and how much it's grown and the impact it's having, not only statewide, but on a national scale, So on this last championship season, and by the way, congratulations, what stood out? I mean, what stood out to help the team get there? I'm obviously you have the girls, but it does take coaching. I think it'd be a combination of teamwork and.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks again for having me here, inviting me here to be able to speak to you guys. I think what you guys do and stand for is pretty amazing for our community. As far as the coaching side goes, at the high school, our girls that are there, and I know I said this last time, they've definitely bought into the culture and to all of the steps that it takes to get to where you want to go. Mindset is an extremely important thing.
Yes.
And I will say this, I give the kids all the credit. They're the ones out there doing the work, competing. They're the ones under the spotlight, dealing with stressors. For us, it's just building that structure for them as a coach to help them succeed in the best way that they can. And I can think of several kids throughout the history of our program that have had to step up. They may not have been anticipating continuing their career onto the postseason, whether it be regionals or state. And we definitely have had some individuals that have stepped up in those roles over the last several years. And I can think of one specifically, Reagan Mesa. She was she's had a tough time since her freshman year, cracking into the lineup. And for her to be able to step in for a girl that we had that was injured, she got injured at the Rocky Well. We actually had two girls that were injured that week. But for her to be able to step in, go up a weight class that she hadn't been wrestling before, and just telling her, keeping her confidence up, letting her know, who cares? If you go out there and give all of the effort that you have, then you shouldn't have anything to be upset about. And she walked away on the podium at state, which is pretty phenomenal. She had some great up and down matches, but I was very excited for her.
You hit on something though that's important to us as well as we work with our boys and girls and talk about leadership. You said something about mindset. I'm 100%. Yeah, that there's a lot to do with that, right? Preparing these kids, getting them to know, hey, you can do this. You can go as far as you want to, but you have to be mentally prepared and physically prepared. Because they're young. We all get emotional, and back when you're young, these kids don't like to lose. They don't want to lose, especially in front of a crowd, right? So, what do the coaches do to get them mentally prepared, or is there a process, or you just?
No, absolutely. It's a long process. What we don't want them to do is lose that competitive edge. We want them to maintain competitive, but it's more of changing the outlook of being competitive and more so respecting the process and being competitive with themselves than it is going out there and putting all of this pressure on themselves. And one thing we talk about with them as well, especially going to a lot of national tournaments with big crowds, it sounds kind of harsh at the beginning whenever we tell them, but it's like, not every person in this arena is here to watch you. So you can take that stressor off of yourself. I know there's a lot of people. It can be intimidating, but I guarantee you there's probably about 20-ish people here that are here to watch you specifically. And I think that takes a lot of stress off of them.
Yeah.
And I tell kids that too as well, that have to go out and speak in public or do anything in front of a large crowd. A majority of those folks that are there either because they have to be there, they're there to support somebody else.
True.
But that takes a lot of stress off of them. And I say just being able to encourage them throughout that process helps. You have to. Not all of us are the learners in the same way. So just learning what fits that kid, what needs they need. Some of them may need a coach that is extremely, with feedback, as far as giving them feedback. This is something that you can correct. This is something that you maybe made an error on. And then there's some that you just have to let them do that reflection on their own. And then if they have questions, they'll come back, and you just have to adapt as a coach. And I think that's one of the most challenging things as a coach or as a leader, is just being able to understand that everybody else ticks a different way, and having to make those, adaptations throughout that process to give them the best advice that you can.
Yeah.
And letting them know this is your time, not mine. I've had my time. Yeah. This is your time to grow as an athlete or as a leader or whatever, arena we want to put ourselves in.
Well, very well said. And one another part to that is being unified. It may be an individual sport, but you're still competing as a team. So they can't forget that part of it either. Being unselfish, I guess, would be a term to use, but the unity. Because if you don't have that and you have fractured the team overall, I wouldn't think would do very well.
Absolutely. They have to learn how to support each other.
Right.
Yeah. And, I think overall the entire program at Garden City, it has built a great foundation for us to continue that tradition of we're all on the same team. We're going to support each other in the same way. We can even use the example of our girls taking a bus up to regionals for the boys to go watch them and support them in Wichita. Cool. And they're screaming their heads off, just like, it was their own sibling out there wrestling. And that's how it feels. It's a very family oriented group. I wish everybody had the opportunity to just immerse themselves in that type of environment. And definitely I'm hoping to grow that type of culture as well at the community college here in Garden City. And
looking forward to that. We're going to get in that a little bit. But being that it was your last year, I'm sure it was kind of emotional for you and having to step away from that, position, if you will, and then move on.
Absolutely. It's very, very bittersweet. Whenever I let the kids know, obviously I had a conversation with the coaches beforehand that I had intended to make that jump ship over to the college. But whenever I explained it to the kids, I wanted to make sure that they knew I have never had a bad time here at this program. I'm not leaving because, something went on.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just leaving because this is another opportunity for me to grow. And then also for kids from here in the local Southwest area to have an opportunity as well to, one, continue their athletic endeavors, but also continue their academic education and have a way to know that it's possible. I know whenever I talk to a lot of these kids, whether it's in high school or getting ready to go into college, money is very, very stressful, and it should be. It's a big decision that they're making, and just trying to let them know that it is possible. There's a lot of different avenues out there for them to be able to make college affordable.
Yes, that's huge now. Recently, I read where a lot of the regents are raising their tuition, and that's what makes community college. We're blessed to have Garden City Community College in our community, because it creates a foundation for them to get started, not only in the classroom, but also from athletics. They want to hopefully pursue and go even maybe to Division I program or II whatever the case may be. So
Absolutely. It's a,
but you obviously, hopefully, you felt like you left a legacy to some degree. How long were you with
so I moved back to Garden City and the area in about it was December of 2017. I started volunteering my time there for 2 years, and then after that, I was blessed to be asked to just go ahead and join the staff. I think I was there enough. I went and traveled to enough competitions on the weekend, and it was definitely an eye opener coming from college athletics and then hopping into a coaching role. Definitely was something that I needed to kind of slow down that pace and understand that everybody is learning at different levels.
Yes.
And I think one thing that I took a lot of great pride in was working with our beginner kids, working with maybe kids that, weren't able to make that varsity lineup, and just letting them know this is going to take, some years to get some repetitions. And, whenever you started learning how to walk, it wasn't that your parents were upset every time you fell when you were almost there. It was you're one step closer to making that, making those changes. So that's one thing that I had a great, pride in. And then whenever Carlos Prieto was there, asking me to kind of hop over and assist with the girls side once that started to get, bigger. And then whenever Paul stepped in as a head coach, asking me to be the head assistant there was definitely something I didn't even think too hard about. I was like, I've enjoyed building the relationships there, and then also just they ask a lot of questions, which made me a better coach.
Yeah.
Because I felt like on the guy's side, I'd be able to say, this is what I need, this is how I need it done, let's get it done. And then it was like, everybody got it? Yep. And then I found myself walking around to each group, making changes. And then on the girls' side, like mid instruction, it would be that first time you used your right hand to do this, and then the second time you did it, your hand was down here. And I'm like, huh. So then I had to relearn and reteach myself as well. But they kept me on my toes.
Well, there is some difference working with girls and boys, right?
Absolutely.
What they're doing is the same, but it would be, I don't know if the challenge would be any different, because the girls might receive feedback a little differently than the boys. I've seen that, me just coaching my kids, and, I would think that it's a little bit different reaching the girls versus the boys, I guess is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. I think just the overall instructional part of it, even the way that you maybe critique their matches, it's more of an understanding side of coaching, which I'm completely fine with. I think overall anybody could benefit from that, just slowing down. It's not a super intense coaching philosophy. It's just, let's slow things down as a coach, because they are going to, if I'm all the way up here and maybe I'm upset or excited, then they are also going to be upset.
They feed off that, don't they?
Yeah. And so what I've also learned is being in the corner as a coach, and there are times where it's extremely hard not to just get excited and let your emotions win, and whether that is positive or sometimes the flip side is being negative. But whenever you see them look over at you in the corner, and you can tell they're feeding off of your energy. But if they look over and maybe something didn't go their way, and you're like, it's okay, we got time on the clock, and this isn't over yet. You're still in it. So I think that's been outstanding to learn.
Well, you guys have done a great job, and man, I just you put Garden City on the map. And again, it does go back to those girls who are wanting to rise to the level that that they can, but it takes encouragement, hard work, determination, confidence, and perseverance. It takes all those things. And that hard work has paid off immensely for our community.
I believe so, yeah. And
individually for those girls.
Absolutely.
Because that could feed off into other areas as they mature and grow. Maybe wanting to go a 4-year institution, maybe want to continue wrestling or get in a professional career. Hopefully what they've been able to do here will carry over in their life down the road.
Yeah, and hopefully, within the time that I was there, they learned some sort of communication, time management,
Right.
respect for one another, and just being able to have confidence in themselves.
Again, you touched on something what we're trying to teach within the organization of Real Men, Real Leaders, and we're doing that at a young age. Now, that's why we work with our 5th and 6th grade boys and girls now, and then on up, is to try to teach those things. Don't wait here. Try to think about them here. Now, they're young, right? But we want to get them to start thinking about these things, important concepts that will help them, succeed, progress, if you will. So, yes, those things are very important for them they'll eventually learn and grow with that. So, and by the way, I don't know if I said, but congratulations on your new coaching, being an assistant coach with the Garden City Community College. I think this is very exciting for not only the girls in our community, girls in the surrounding Southwest Kansas and other parts of the nation, if they want to come here to go to school, because I know we do often have a lot of different athletes come from all over the United States to go to school here, and I don't see it no different for the wrestling program. So I know it's exciting for the community college. I know it's exciting for the girls program, but man, what an opportunity. I mean,
I am excited. I'm ready. I'm itching to get going. I think, the head coach that came in originally is from southeastern Colorado, Donnie Stevens, and he's been tremendous to work with, a great mentor already, just in how the college coaching works whenever it comes down to recruiting, maybe conversations that you're able to have with potential athletes. And I think he's done a really great job at the buy-in here in Garden City. And one of the first things that he said when he got here was he was super excited to be in a community where wrestling is, up there in some of the top things that spectators want to watch. And, but I'm super excited, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to do. And I think we're going to turn some heads, and I'm very excited for that.
I think so too. Again, it's like, you're going to be part of starting something. I don't think we've ever had a wrestling girls program in I don't think so.
For women's, no. Men's,
we did years ago, then they cut it loose. And, but now it's just like a whole new world out there. It seems like it with girls wrestling. And by the way, girls softball's been around a long time. It's huge too. And because I have a tendency to watch that, I think it's exciting.
Absolutely.
What those girls play from time to time. But, is there any difference between I guess they become a little more mature. Any difference between coaching college kids versus high school? I guess you don't know that yet, but you're going to get your...
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be open up to that world. I think in general, just the communication has already been different between high school and college athletes. I think that they understand a little bit deeper of the meaning. They want to be there. We have brought them into our family here, whereas high school, you work with whoever you have. And I think that's amazing. That's an opportunity to grow as a coach.
Big difference.
And, but in college, you're picking your family and you're bringing them in, and they understand the standards and expectations right off the bat. And they also are ready to rock and roll, but you're also, dealing with multiple different, temperaments and personalities and drives. And, so those challenges are still there. But they're definitely opportunities for them to grow on, but they want to be there. So I think that's an exciting thing.
So hopefully you want to develop a very successful culture, and there would be a difference, I guess. I didn't stop to think about that. How you have girls here within the community versus having a variety of different kids coming not only throughout the state but possibly from out of state would be. There would be some difference there, I guess.
Absolutely.
But what do you hope to accomplish the first year I mean,
Yeah.
you're a guy that kind of sets goals. Maybe it's hard for you to answer right now because you're still trying to figure that out. But is there anything? Obviously, you want to win. Obviously, you want to recruit good talent, right? So you are successful, and then training them up to win. What coach wouldn't want that the first year that you? But basically, I mean, you're just starting from ground up. So what do you hope to accomplish?
Man, I'll tell you this: starting a program from the ground up, from just as far as getting mats, getting athletes, they're building that foundation is what this first year is about. I think we've done a great job already at recruiting some awesome athletes to come in and wrestle for us. But I think the biggest goal that I have right now is to at least reach those top 5 national rankings for NJCAA. And I don't think that that's out of reach for our program. So that'd be a goal for mine.
Wow.
But I think, or for me, and I think, Coach Donnie Stevens as well would be on board with that. And we're both very excited to get the ball rolling on this. And but as far as just the beginning of this program, I think is building a great positive culture, building that support system for those kids, and creating another avenue for them to, if they have ambitions, getting them eyes on them to be able to see and be recruited to different programs.
Yeah, good. That's ambitious goal, but good luck, and I think you can achieve it. You just got to work at it. And with Donnie being new, I'm glad that he's slowly getting acclimated to the community. We're glad to have him. Hopefully we can get him on as well to do a podcast. We'd love to have him.
Oh, I think he'd be into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then do you know how many girls wrestling programs are in the state by chance?
In our state.
Do you know? I don't have a clue. And I don't mean to be put
No.
on the spot. I just don't know.
Yeah, I think overall together, you'd have Colby Community College, Barton Community College, Friends University, Fort Hays State University, us, Northwestern Tech, Fort Hays, which is up in Goodland. And then I believe there's a couple more colleges over on the east side of state, close to Kansas City, and then south of the Topeka area. But I'd say probably close to around 10.
Interesting. And surely it'd be interesting to know what programs are outside of Kansas too.
Oh yeah, they're growing. I know Iowa State just brought in a program. Iowa itself has been pretty competitive. McKendree over in the St. Louis area has been a pretty dominant program for years, and they gave Iowa a run for their money in the NCAA's women's national tournament, and came away with a win over a Division I program, which is pretty outstanding.
Wow. A lot to look forward to, man. Say, I understand that you had launched an Instagram account.
Yes.
Called, what is it called?
Just Coach Calderon, yep.
And what inspired you to start that?
So I think the basis of that is just to create a platform for me individually as a coach to be able to mentor kids, or even just post some positive things on there to be able to help encourage them throughout some times. Definitely has been a little different trying to manage a lot of different things. So I know for me, being on the Kansas Highway Patrol side, managing social media accounts on that end, my own personal one, the coaching one. Prior, I was helping there at the Garden City High School, running their page, and just it's not anything to do, I would say, with specifically Garden City Community College. It's just as a mentor, as a leader, just trying to be there for a bunch of
and that's a very positive thing. And again, you touched on something that I think we don't do enough. And you keep saying encouraging the kids, and that's another thing I don't think we do enough of. Okay, and feed them, even though they're young. We work with young kids, all of us do. And I think sometimes we get in a bad habit of telling them often what they're doing wrong versus what they're doing right. And I think we have to uplift our kids more and speak words of strength and positivity. I think we just don't do that, and they need to understand that failure is part of the process of becoming successful. And we need to pound that in their heads, okay? Because there's too much on social media that is not healthy. So this is healthy, okay? And so I'm a big fan is that we have to instill encouragement and strength and perseverance and you earlier you said something I meant to follow up on it. You said something about walking when as a little baby. Well, I use that same analogy to our young boys and now girls is that, hey, when you were a baby, right, you first learned to crawl to get around, right? And then pretty soon you're grabbing on things and now you're standing up. And then pretty soon you're walking 2 or 3 steps and you fall. I said, did you stay down? Well, of course they all in the classroom say, well, no, it's the same thing in any area of your life.
Absolutely.
Okay. You get knocked down, you get up. You get knocked down, you get up. Okay. And so I wanted to touch on that a little bit. And so I'm glad to hear that you're going to have that Instagram account, which can help.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I did learn as far as just feedback from kids and coaching and mentoring, I went to an FBI course, man, it's probably about 4 years ago, and kind of just as an instructor, learning how people receive feedback and then how their thought processes work. One of the best things that I learned from there is instead of immediately coming up to them with instruction and this is what you did and whatever, is to just simply ask them either how do you feel about that or what happened, and not in a negative tone.
Correct.
What happened?
Yeah.
So what happened? And then they will boom, 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 boom. All of the negative will get out of the way. We're our own biggest critics. And then after that, I just tell them, okay, you told me all of the bad things that you feel that you did. Let's focus on name 2 things that you think you did well.
Correct.
And then they'll name that. And then after that, what is 2 things that you want to improve on? They name that. And then afterwards, then they may have named 2 that I was going to name anyway. So then I grab, 1 or 2 from that list that they thought they wanted to work on and say, here is a couple things that you can improve on. I wouldn't say any of that was terrible. It's definitely, we're able to fix that. Here are some ways you can fix that. Do you have any questions or anything for me? If you do, you find me, I'll come help you out. We'll work on this at practice, whatever it is. And I think learning that just kind of was like an aha moment of, man, not that I was doing everything terribly wrong before. It was just kind of opened up my eyes to learn a little different, especially learning from them as well. Cause you'll learn the kids that are very tough on themselves. And then you'll also learn the flip side where some kids are like, I didn't think I did anything wrong. Everything out there went perfect. And then they blame external circumstances instead. So trying to get them to see there are some things where we can work on. And then here's how you can do it without doing it in a negative way.
Yeah. I mean, perfect. That's, we need to be doing more of that. Right. And the good Lord says, the tongue's very powerful. It can either give you life or death. To me, it's no different than uplifting or pushing down somebody. And we're in a position to uplift these kids. And we know when we took this program on, just like you going into wrestling, taking these kids on, they're going to make mistakes. And even at 5th grade, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to make a lot of them time after time. And we've got to learn now some kids, I don't know if they'll ever get it, but for most of them, you just got to hang in there and work with them and get them back on track. And hopefully down the road, they'll eventually get it. But we have to start young.
Absolutely.
We have to go ahead.
And I think, with your guys' program, just that, your guys' leaders and mentors that you bring in is just that sense of understanding. Maybe not every kid has had somebody in their life like that, where it's just yes, you did something wrong, or you maybe acted out of character, but that understanding of showing them the bigger picture and letting them know, hey, I care about you. We're here for you. We want to see you succeed. Now here are some things that I need from you to just hold yourself accountable. And I think, you guys have some great members in our community that step up to the plate for that.
Well, we're trying, and again, we deeply believe that, again, I'm going to beat it like a dead horse. We have to start with these kids at this level. You don't wait till they're in high school or college. Sometimes it's too late. And that's why we started at the 5th grade level and build that base, as they continue to mature and go on, and, not only learn about leadership and perseverance and strength and courage and, but learning how to communicate. You said that earlier is huge, get them over that fear of communicating. It just, to me, it's no brainer. I mean, we teach, all the other things, English, math, science, Spanish. Well, we teach all sorts of things, and I believe this is no different to some degree. And those things are very important to build that base. Well, it's no different than helping these kids to become better people. You need to teach them in some of those areas as well, what it takes.
Yeah, it's a learned skill. It's something that they have to first be exposed to and then practice on their own.
Right.
Yeah.
And repetitiveness wins the day, right?
Yep.
Good habit. I often heard, I don't know about you, Anthony, but I've heard, motivation. Well, you can have all the motivation you want, but if you don't have discipline, motivation goes out the window, right?
Motivation's temporary.
And then let me add another one. If you can have motivation, you have discipline, but over a period of time, if you're not creating those habits, then you're not going to reach your full potential. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can even use the example of, we try to push everybody to give 100%. Well, just as well as I do that every day you don't feel 100%.
Oh,
so if you feel, if you're sick or you're tired,
right,
or whatever it is, and you're only at 65%, if you can give all of that 65% you have, that's 100%. And I'm not saying that you're going to feel good when you do it, but you're going to feel better about yourself the next day, knowing that you gave it your all, because you can take the easy way out and just say, I'll do nothing, or you give it that amount of effort, which you can control. You control the amount of effort you give. You got something up here that always wants to take the easy way out. I think as humans, naturally, it's just, we want to make things easier every time. And so, that is an easy voice to listen to, is let's just not do anything, since it's not going to be comfortable when we give that 65.
And there's something said by that, I've listened to a lot of podcasts, a lot of good people talk about being in the uncomfortable place. And really, that's where you should live, because through that, you get through those uncomfortable challenges. That's where you reap your success eventually.
Absolutely.
And then if you do it over a period of time, pretty soon you become very valuable to people, and pretty soon you're an expert, whatever it may be. So, well, why is it important to you to continue to grow the women's wrestling program?
Yeah, for me, I think it's just creating a platform for young women to continue their athletic endeavors, but also to help grow them as leaders. Not every single one of them is going to be a wrestling coach or be involved in wrestling their entire life, but the skills and the culture and the environment that they're able to grow in while they're with us is going to be something they carry, whether it's in a business world, whether they're a teacher, a parent, whatever it is that they decide to do and fully invest in. That's what drives me to continue to coach these kids.
Well, good. You're good at it, obviously, and I'm glad again, congratulations. Now, I know you have a family.
Absolutely.
How has fatherhood changed you?
Man, that's something that you don't know until you experience it.
That's right.
I had a guy that trained me as a state trooper. He was one of my field training officers. His name was Greg Etris. He told me all the time, you don't know what you don't know yet, and that's okay. And then he'd go into explaining it to me, and I'm like, man, I just, I don't understand that. And then becoming a father, you're like, wow, I didn't know what I didn't know. and it takes a lot of sacrifice. As if I had to explain fatherhood in one word, it'd be sacrifice. I think you sacrifice time, you sacrifice, whether you want something materialistic, you sacrifice sleep.
It's no longer about Anthony.
Yeah,
it's no longer
it's
about
a very
Anthony.
selfless role. So I think it's probably maybe 6 months, 8 months into my son, being here, and I sent a text to my stepdad and was like, "Hey, and it had to have been maybe 4 a.m. in the morning. I don't know what I was. I know why I was up, probably up helping feed him. But no, I sent him a text and was like, "Man," I was like, "I finally, I didn't see all of the stuff that you guys sacrificed, whether it be time or sleep, and I really appreciate what you guys have done for me." And I think as a father, just wanting my son to have a better life than I've had, and than my wife's had. And not that we've had bad lives by any means, but you definitely want them to do better than you, and at any cost. And it's a scary thing. I never knew that I'd be so vulnerable to being scared until that little human reached the world, and it's a big responsibility.
It is, and again, it's going to offer you an opportunity to speak courage and wisdom into your children, and they're gonna and make them realize that you're gonna have some, life's not a bowl of cherries all the time. You're gonna have some things that you're gonna be dealing with that can be a little uncomfortable. But,
Absolutely,
that's awesome. So, is there anything that your children have taught you? Dad?
Absolutely. One would probably be that I'm not the most patient person in the world. It's a demanding experience, whether it's just when you're lacking energy and you're like, man,
or you having a bad day.
Yeah. Just that, and learning how to get through those humps, and definitely learn skill there, and also just how to love my wife a lot differently as well. I think with him being here, just getting to see her be a mother, and also have sacrifices of her own, and definitely building that respect. And it's a different type of love. I think, when I think back, and I can think of the day you get married and you're like, man, I'm so in love. This is it. This is the top of the world. And then that honeymoon phase ends and you're like, wow,
it comes to an end.
Yeah. But you learn how to love each other through a lot of different times and growth. And sometimes, one person may be down here, so the other person has to pick up some slack, and then those roles change, and just being able to respect each other, I think, has definitely changed.
Well, it sure can help you be a better coach too, right?
Yeah, I think so. Just being understanding, build it, and working on my patience.
Was there any men in your life that influenced you?
Yeah, absolutely. I first can start with my stepdad. My biological father wasn't a big part of my life, and so for him to step in and take on me and my sister, and then welcome my younger brother into the world is pretty outstanding. And just to take a step back and reflect on all of the things that he was able to provide for us, and then knowing, like, yes, I think if you ask anybody, they're like, that's just their responsibility. But there are some circumstances where people don't feel that way. And so I think very highly of him and how he loved and nurtured us and helped grow us. And I think right around that middle school, high school age, whenever you start making decisions of impulse. And, I can remember a lot of conversations that him and I had that weren't, he wasn't yelling at me or anything. It was just more of a, like, you have to take a step back and realize that there is a lot bigger picture to the world than what's right here in front of you right now. And, but definitely, he's been an awesome inspiration to me. And then a couple of both of my uncles, my Uncle Joe and my Uncle Bob, just getting to see how they maneuver life, and they've been an inspiration. And then I think you grow older and appreciate other folks. And my Uncle Steve, he would have been my grandma's brother, and he's definitely been a pretty big inspiration. He helps with the community garden here in Garden City over there.
Oh, wow.
Just south of Goodwill. And seeing all the hard work he puts in is just he's definitely a man of action and little words, but man of action.
But you know what? There's a lot of good people like him doing the quiet work, never gets an applause, never gets a praise. That to me is a true leader. They're not in it. They're in it for the community thing. They're not in it for themselves. And oftentimes we can do that sometimes, but people like him, God bless him, because, there's a lot of them, a lot of people doing good work in this community that are just quiet, and, it makes the community better and all of us better.
Absolutely.
So, well, is there any one leadership trait that you admired the most?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably the hardest one. It falls under communication, but it's the listening part of it. And I think it's very hard to take that pause, really soak in what somebody's talking about. And I think most of us want the opportunity to be able to talk. I want this to say, I want to talk about me, I want to talk about that. But just being able to listen to somebody, and that's one I'm still working on, for sure, is just active listening, being able to
more patient.
being more patient, being able to process what they're saying. And then you can hear a lot of that. Maybe they have some concerns, or maybe they're excited about something. But being able to really gravitate and attach on to what they're saying. And that's definitely one of the hardest things to do.
I think it's hard for a lot of people. We always want to get out what we want to get out, right? Talk about. It's hard for a lot of us to just sit and listen, and then listen to people or meeting people that are different than you. I always say that if we could sit down and tell each other stories, we'd probably live in a better world, because you get to know where that person is actually coming from and some of the challenges and struggles they face or their family has faced. We don't do enough of that. We tend to gravitate toward people like us, right? Instead of breaking that mold and going over here and saying, I'm going to go sit over here and talk to these people. It's very hard for us to do that. But if we did, I think we'd be all the better for it.
Yeah. And I think with our profession, it's being in law enforcement, just seeing people at different stages of their day, whether it's the worst day of their life or they just were headed to work. You meet a variety of different people with different backgrounds and different struggles and different successes. And, because it's not always in just the enforcement side. Sometimes it's the community engagement side, getting to see what folks do around our community. Sure. and what they've built. But yeah, I think it's definitely given me a respect for people, and just getting to see that there are different people out there, and it doesn't make the way they live any different or wrong than the way I live. It's just they have different principles and a different drive.
That's the way they were raised too. It's the way they were raised. But I tell you what, we're gonna close here. I've got a closing question, and all of us want to be able to leave this place a better place. Maybe it's a legacy, but you take the championships out, you take the titles, you take your positions out. What do you hope people say about Anthony Calderon when you're no longer here?
That's tough. I think for me, it would just be that I was encouraging and understanding, whether that be for somebody that was going through a hard time or somebody that was had some great success. Just being able to be there for them as a positive person in their corner.
Yeah, good. Yeah, well, I don't say all, but that's what we all want, people to say good things, hopefully good things about us when we pass on, especially your family. I think the family's more. And my dad used to say, Ray, when you're on your deathbed, he goes, it's not going to be all your friends around you necessarily. Hopefully it'll be your family, so the family's really important. The unit's really important. And, But good. Anthony, we really appreciate you. I want to make it very clear he's still highway patrol. He's not leaving highway patrol to go to coaching. It's something that you're doing on the side. We sure appreciate you coming on again, and hopefully we'll like to have Coach Stevens come on, and Donnie, and at some point to talk about the future of women's wrestling. I think it is an exciting time for the community college and for women in that sport. I'd be jazzed up like you do. I mean, if you're passionate about it, you do want to get up and get going. And after you work it, and with highway patrol, you're ready to go and go do some wrestling coaching.
Ready to get after it.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Fred.
We'll have you back maybe down the road. Very interesting, and be careful out there on the road. May God be with you, and we want to thank you for joining us here at the Real Man, Real Leaders podcast. Like I say, this is about leadership, and it's not so much about any title that people carry. It is so much as it is about being active and doing positive things for our community, for your families, whether it's homeschool or, like we say with our boys, homeschool community. So stay tuned for the next episode of Real Men, Real Leaders. We thank you so much and by the way, She Leads. Can't forget that. Now we have the girls program. So it'll be more like Real Men, Real Leaders / She Leads podcast. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.